What's up, everybody? It's Dave Drakes with The Collective Experience, and we are back for another TCE interview. And this week, I got somebody really special. I'm excited to talk to him. It's the new voice of Supercross. If you've been to Supercross this year, you're going to recognize him. Or if you own a TV, you might recognize this dude also. It's the one and only. It's Joseph Allen. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Just chilling, man. Just chilling. Looking to kick it.
I like it. I like
have
it.
some cool little moments right now.
Right? Just talking Moto, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I guess we got to start from the very beginning because when I went to Anaheim 1 this year and I saw your face pop up on the screen, I saw you in and out of the pits and stuff like that. And I was like, damn, who is this dude? It's like the new Daniel Blair kind of. And what stuck out to me was you actually you used the right vernacular. You knew a lot of the inside knowledge where when we normally have guests or new announcers, they're all of the dirt bike drivers are fastening their seatbelt, and I'm like, this dude has never seen a race. Yeah. But you were in it, and I was like, no, this dude has to ride. And then I think AJ sent me a clip of which we'll get into later of some of your background and stuff like that when you were on the show. I'm not going to say what show yet. But and they saw that you're a rider, and I was like, that's why I knew he was a rider because the way you looked so comfortable in that environment, so it was dope. And I was like, okay, I'm glad we got somebody else who can bring another splash of personality that rides bikes. So I was stoked to see you out there, man. But for people who may not know who you are quite yet, because they definitely will. Give us a quick background story, man, and how did you get hooked up with being one of the new voices of Supercross?
Yeah, so I raced amateur for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I went on to a show. I don't know if you want me saying the show yet.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it right after this.
yeah. So I went on to a show.
Yeah.
It helped increase my popularity. And from there, it opened a lot of doors. And from that show, I went on to go on tour. Mm-hmm. When I was on tour, the daughter of Sean Brennan, who runs a lot of the public relations for the sport of Supercross.
Yep.
His daughter was at one of my shows, and she pretty much was like, hey, we got to see if we can get you to somehow get involved with the sport, whether it be singing a national anthem or something like that. And Sean Brennan, when he reached out, he saw that on my Instagram. Jet Lawrence was following me, RJ Hampshire, a lot of the 250 guys, Pierce Brown, they were all following me. He was like, yo, what's up with that? And then he saw that I also was doing some stuff with a former Troy Lee Designs rider, Sean Cantrell. He's one of my best friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, dope. That's cool. Okay, you got deep ties.
Me and Sean, we went and we drove Danny Duncan, this guy Danny Duncan from Texas to New Mexico, and Sean jumped over Danny with a dirt bike. It was some cool stuff. But Sean Brennan, the guy who runs PR for Supercross, he looked and he was like, wait a second, dude, we're gonna see if we can get you involved with this sport. We're not just looking, to have you do something minor. Let's see if we can have you do something more hands-on with the sport. And once they reached out, I was like, let's see what we could do. And now I'm hosting the show, I'm working with Race Day Live, and just trying to see where I can help for the sport. Oh no,
definitely. I think you bring such a unique take on the sport too, you know what I mean, because your background is so diverse. So I want to get back a little bit because you said you raced amateur. How did you get involved in the sport, and how far did you take it? We talking raddest style, or are we doing local? Give me a little bit of background.
So I saw Supercross on television. I was 8 or 9 years old, and I remember I told my dad, I was like, that's it, I'm a Supercross racer. And
that's usually how it starts.
Yeah, exactly. And from there, I would find little side hustles and things like that to try and make money as a kid, whether it be selling lemonade or cutting grass, stuff like that. And or car washes. And my dad helped me kind of fund getting started into the sport. There's big learning curves that I had to get through. Learning my dad rode motorcycles, so he knew how to teach me how to shift and stuff like that. But
gotcha.
I had to learn things like back brake tapping and body position, all of that stuff just over time. And I did a long run in the super mini class. One, because I was a taller kid, so I could manhandle the bike a lot better. But two, because I didn't grow up racing. So first year in super mini, compared to my last year, was night and day, because I qualified first for Ponca in my qualifier, and then before Ponca, ended up breaking my right arm. Got a screw put in there, and then I pulled a whole shot on Cooper Webb out in Texas, and was qualified for Loretta's, and then I broke my left wrist and got a 4-inch plate, 8 screws put in there. So Super Mini, I think, was I developed fast in the sport, and then kept racing at the local level, and started getting into arena cross and stuff like that. And my last race, I was 19. I won an arena cross race in the 250 class, and after that, I retired.
Dang. Okay. So yeah, definitely more talented than myself. I tried the whole like I got my ass whipped in Super Mini. I think I made it to like an area qualifier in the Reddest if I remember correctly, and like so I grew up racing in New England against like AJ Cat, Jimmy D, all these other guys. And I got smoked every weekend. So like I wasn't winning nothing. I wasn't doing half the time. Like AJ was like, "Bro, why are you here?" I was like, "Oh no, dude, I like it. I guess I like getting beat. I don't know." But no, that's dope. So like you've got the background and credentials, like, and then again racing all these guys that you're talking to now. Does that make it easier for you in your job because like you've raced Cooper Webb before, you've gone the Pogna circuit, like you know the ins and outs? Like, do you feel like that's helped you be so successful right now?
Right, exactly. Because it makes it to where it's like I'm not talking about anything new. Like it's a sport that I obsessed over as a kid. It's a sport that I still like. I still go to Minios to like watch. I still go to like I'll go out to Fox Raceway to watch the opener of motocross and stuff like. I'm so hands-on already in the sport, and I'm buddies with so many of them. Like, it makes it to where talking about it, it's like I talk about this regardless. Anyway. I'll come to these Supercross races regardless. So it's like give me one of the best seats in the house, and I just share my excitement with the rest of the people who showed up at the event.
No, that's dope. I mean, and again, it shows when you're doing your thing and you're in the pits, you're talking to people. It definitely shows. So, I'm definitely a big fan.
I appreciate that.
So going back a little bit too, so we mentioned the show. Talk about. I want you to say what show you're on, and tell us how you got there. Like, how the heck did you make that happen?
So the show was America's Got Talent. So the
small
way I was
show
able to make that happen.
It's not small show.
It took about 5 years. It took about 5 years for them to finally say yes, and for them to finally like let me on to the show.
Yeah.
And from that process, life changing. Literally got what's called a golden buzzer, which is something that like pushes you really far into the competition. It helped increase my popularity, and I even showed some love to the sport of motocross while I was on the show. So I've always been riding for the sport, man. Been riding for the sport since day one.
There we go. Did you always have a singing talent? Like was that always something that you had, or did you kind of discover that later in life?
Yeah, so definitely was always like using my voice, whether it be I was being a class clown and stuff like that at a younger age. So learning how to sing was just something that helped me like utilize a gift of storytelling. Like I always wanted to perform. I like performing. So around the 3rd grade is when I think subconsciously I started putting like a lot of focus on like getting the craft of singing down, and that's just something that stayed with me like all throughout school. And it was only when I got to college that I really started to like try my hand at writing music, and that's where I was like, okay, like I think I'm pretty decent at this. So then it was just seeing how far that could take me, and it took me to America's Got Talent.
Yeah, and then some, dude. You went on tour and stuff, man. What was that like?
Man,
what was that
crazy,
like?
because then after that opened up a lot of doors, and then I got onto this show on MTV called The Challenge, which is like a Fear Factor Survivor type of show. And it's helped me see the world. Like that show, they go to a different country for each season. The country we went to for mine was Iceland, and I was like, dude, like that talent of like writing music, like it really opened up the doors for like for me to try a lot of cool things that that I typically wouldn't have got the chance to do. So I feel super lucky for sure.
No, that's dope. So what's scarier, doing like the Challenge Fear Factor type stuff, or like being on the gate with like 39 other like hyped up dudes getting ready to kill you? The gate, right?
I'm telling you, when I try and tell people that the sport of motocross raised me, it raised me, man. Like there's like in football or all that other stuff, you're in situations where, a coach could tell you, throw the ball like this, or like do that. But it's like, no one can like tell you, hey, go throw yourself 30 feet through the air to try and hit that jump.
Exactly.
You have to build that up in you to go, okay, like, I think I'm ready.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, it's a different animal, man.
Yeah, it is, and
it
breeds us differently. Like the way we approach things, and like I can tell. I'm sure it's something for you. Like things that freak out most people in like automobiles, whatever.
Right.
We don't even think about it. Like I almost get in car accidents every day. Someone swerving into me, I'm like, whatever, get out of it, and like I'm cool. I don't even think about it. Most people are like freaking out. I'm like, bro, this is nothing. This is this is nothing, bro. Be in the gate with a bunch of other 85 riders wanting to kill you. Like you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's no joke, man. It's no joke. The sport takes it. If it doesn't take a specific type of individual, it'll definitely turn you into a specific type of individual.
Facts. That's a great way to put that. I 100% agree. So when you did get the gig with Supercross and doing the Supercross Live, walk me through what that first day was like, because I think that was your first time, speaking in front of the microphone,
like being
in front of
involved
other people.
With the sport
If on the track and stuff, like what was that like being there for the first day and hopping on the broadcast for the first time?
I felt like a kid in a candy store, man. Yeah. Seriously, it just felt like it was like a whoa moment where you look around, you're like, whoa, like I'm really out here right now. Like I'm really down here. Like they let me be down here. You know, like it felt like that. It felt like that, where it was just like, it's hard to believe, especially, and that's the feeling you're gonna get if you're a fan of something. Yes. You know what I mean? Like it would be different if I was just some reporter who was just like, oh, okay, this is the sport I'm working with now, but that's not what it was for me. Like I'm a content creator, I'm a musician, and I'm trying to find creative ways to help out the sport. And it's like, just being down there, man, it's cool. It's cool. I think you've noticed that too, though. Seeing me down there, like I'm saying what's up to everybody.
Exactly.
Like I'm just having a good time.
Yeah. It keeps it fun too, because as high stress as it is, like we're still all having fun. Like it's still all of our dreams since we were kids and stuff. So like, like seeing you in San Diego and stuff and talking, everyone's smiling, everyone's happy. We're getting ready to drop the gate. Like it's a good vibe. And like every time I'm there to race, I'm like the same thing. I'm like, man, this is cool. I'm here. I'm doing this. You know what I mean? So it's it's definitely dope. So how have you thought that the sports embraced you in this new role? Do you feel like they've accepted you into like the family of like the Supercross pro racing? Like how do you feel you've been received?
Yeah, definitely accepted. It's just a few barriers that have to get past, right? Like you have the barrier of like, wait a second, like who is this guy barrier, right? You have the does he know what he's talking about? Like our community is very close,
insular,
right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like and that comes with understanding, right? Like we all faced it. If you raced growing up, you faced it where you're in school, you're trying to tell people about what it is you do, and they hit you with that response that we all hated growing up, where it was like, all you're doing is sitting down and twisting a throttle.
Exactly. Like, why are you tired?
Right. Those are the types of things that makes our sport very community based, because it's one of those things where if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, it's hard for you to get it.
I'm glad you said it.
So, the first thing is like understanding, like, they have every right first to check, is this man valid? You know what I mean? Like that's the first question you have to ask, because I wouldn't appreciate it as a Supercross fan if someone comes in and they're trying to educate me on a sport that they had nothing to do with.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like really, like, what are you telling me here? Like, what are you trying to educate me on? Or do you even know what these riders are going through?
Yep.
But I think as time goes on, and I think more and more people are having the realization of what you said, where it's like, wait, nah, like this guy had to ride, like he had to, like, and so far so good, man. Like I feel like I was embraced immediately, and I think the only barriers now that I really face is just the time barrier of like spending more time, so that way more and more people can like let that guard down that naturally comes with the sport.
Exactly, and you put it in a good way. I think with this sport, it's all about not who you know, but who knows you. So like the more they see that face, the more you be getting the wave and the what's up. And like towards the end of the season, bro, you're valid. Like the face is a passport now. You know what I mean? Like you're in rigs and stuff. Like and it happens like this. It's so weird with this community. And I'm sure we do it and don't even know. Like walk past the same dude, and just not till like 3-4 races we're like, oh, what's up, bro? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's it definitely comes when you have a little bit more of a tenure in it. But for you, it's probably gonna happen like immediately if it hasn't already. So what's one thing that you learned in this new gig that you had no idea prior to hopping in? Like one big thing you learned about either the sport or about like broadcasting or whatever it is.
Bro, the traveling, man.
Crazy, right?
The traveling.
Crazy.
It's no joke.
It's not, bro. It's not.
It's not for the faint of heart.
It will wipe you out.
Man, you land and you get to work, man.
Yep. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And I do it weird too, because I have a regular 9 to 5, which is super demanding. And then once the 5 p.m., 5:36 pops up, I'm rushing to the airport, dropping the car off. I'm out somewhere, getting it at midnight, and then Sunday, same deal. Then do it all over again next week. And I'm sure your schedule is kind of similar too, because you got a lot going on. And like every person you talk to that's part of Supercross, they will tell you this travel is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, man. They don't realize. They think it's all glamour. They think it's like private jets. Like, no, dude, we're sitting in TSA, cramped aisle, like every week.
Yes, man.
It's pretty crazy. So, what are some goals? Like, where do you see yourself within the sport over the next couple of years? Because like the more you do this, the bigger you're going to get, the bigger that your influence. The influence you have outside of Moto is already huge. I can only imagine what you can do inside of Moto, but like, what's your vision for where you want to take things?
I just want to help out the best way possible. I want it to be seen like, I don't know. Hopefully I can be involved with the sport for around 10 years. 10 years is what I'm looking at. And I want to charge those years hard. Year one is mostly about learning, right? Like learning like where I can fit in, where I can, make an impact. But what I would like to do is somehow strike magic. And what I mean by strike magic is like what Flo did with Progressive, right? Where it's like Progressive Insurance never changed a thing about their policies or anything. But when Flo got involved, she was just able to help add something to the whole ecosystem that increased it. But Flo wasn't Progressive. She was Flo, but she added, and it's like that, but it also takes striking magic, right? Like it takes people going, I like that. I like what's going on. So that's what I'm hoping for, man, is like hopefully 10 years of just each year just trying what I can do to not be quote unquote Progressive Insurance, but to be the best Flo I can be, the best addition to it. So that way the sport of Supercross stays the same, but I'm helping bringing eyes to the sport, because what I want is the sport itself to be more of a household conversation than it is now.
Exactly. I think that's what all of us want collectively. So,
we try to get these boys paid, man.
Facts. Yes, that's what we're trying to do. Trying to get these boys that paper. Yeah, we're trying to run the bag up. So, no, I'm glad you brought that up. That's such a good point, and it just shows again another layer of how much you want to give back to the sport, which shows again how much you care about it, and that's just a testament to the time you put into it. This was super, super fun. I'm glad we got a chance to do this. I got one more question for you, and if I always ask people, 2 more questions. We'll go 2 more. First one is, what's one piece of advice that you could give somebody who sees you in the Supercross and like, man, I want to be Joseph Allen one day. I want to have that impact. I want to be like super, super successful like him. What's one piece of advice that you would give to the little Josephs out there who are watching?
Take risks. That's the number one thing that motocross taught me. And it's the number one thing that I've translated into, like my life. So for example, like I said, the 5 years with America's Got Talent, I was going to go to college for mechanical engineering. Last minute, I changed my major to film before my freshman year started, because I was like, if I get on television, I want to know how this stuff works. That was a big risk, because throughout college, I didn't learn much about how to work the cameras. My whole focus was just trying to get used to being around an ecosystem of editing, like all of these things, with the hope that the risk that I was taking was going to pay off. And it's like, when you take those risks, those are the only way you can also get the reward. So it's like what you have. Like, there came a moment where you ask yourself, am I going to start this podcast? Am I going to, and it's like taking that risk. okay, I'm gonna go buy a mic. I'm gonna go buy everything that I need to just get started, and then run at it as like with the best of your ability at whatever level you're at. So that's the number one thing that I would suggest is just taking risks.
100%. I will tell you, I did the mechanical engineering route. Film is much cooler. I will tell you right there. Film, way better. Last question. You probably really poised to answer this question very well because again, your background is so diverse and you've done so much with things. You're coming in as to some people's eyes as an outsider, but you're really an insider more so than people realize. If you could change the sport in one way at any level, amateur, pros, what would that way be and why?
If I could change the sport in one way?
In one way. If you can get one magic wish to change the sport, what would you do?
I would make it the fourth. I would make it the fourth most watched sport in the world. That's what I would do. Because I feel like the more people see it and see it for what it is, the more people realize it's like one of the hardest things, like and when I say hard, I mean like in like the slang word of like, man, that's hard.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest sports like in the entire world. And I feel like the magic behind flying through the air, racing your buddies and coming out victorious, like if that could get shared with more people, I feel like the sport would get its flowers. Before know how people say that, I want my flowers while I'm alive. Like I feel like the sport needs its flowers, man, because as a kid, seeing it and seeing the magic it had on me and the way it affected me, that's all I would want. If I had one wish, is that the sport became bigger than what it is now, because it's big now, but I would want it to be like fourth biggest. Like we could leave soccer, football, like we could let those do their thing, basketball, but right after that, Supercross, motocross,
definitely. And the way you can tell, and that's definitely a good one. That's one that's right up there for me as well. The way you can tell that like our sport's not quite big as the other sports is that our superstars can still walk through the airport and be relatively unknown. So like Roxon can fly American Airlines, row 4, row 5, and no one's gonna bother him. You know what I mean? Where like you get Tom Brady in the airport, he's shutting the airport down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, I think once Ken Roxon can't go to the airport, once Tomac goes to the airport, then we made it. You know what I mean? It's gonna suck for them. It's gonna suck for them, but at least for us, we'll be like, all right, well, my sport's doing things.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Look, Joseph, this was dope, man. I'm pumped we got a chance to do this. I'm amped to see how far you go with the sport. It's great to have you at the races. I think you bring such a unique perspective, so much energy, so much know-how, and you're only helping to elevate the sport in the right direction. So I'm pumped to see it.
Appreciate that. That means a lot. You just spoke life into me, man. And I hope I keep making you proud, man. I hope I keep making everybody proud.
Definitely. Like I said, I'm glad we got a chance to do this. If you guys want to see more awesome content, be sure to check out thecollectivexp.com. And if you want to go behind the scenes and maybe work with people just like Joseph, check us out at The Collective EX on Instagram. Let us help you make a career in the sport that will last you a lifetime. Half of our interns are out there doing big things, and the other half are doing even bigger things. So everyone's crushing it right now. Get your opportunity, get your chance to get your foot in the door and work in the industry that we all love. TheCollectiveXP.com. Joseph, we're gonna do this again. We got to get you in the Follow Plugs Moto show. We got to get you on the vlog and start putting your face out there in our stuff, man.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan.
All right, dope. I'm gonna end it right there, but you're staying on the line for a little bit longer, man. We got some more stuff to talk about. But thank you guys for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. Let's get the community growing. Be good.
Peace.